Hey everybody, it's Dave Juno, the Meniere's Disease Warrior. How you all doing? I'm doing pretty good for Thursday night. It wasn't a good Tuesday, Wednesday, and not a good Wednesday night, or even this morning was awful. Oh God. Just the vertigo and tinnitus and this and that. It just was, off balance. I fell in the dining room, pushed myself to get my grandson on the school bus, and then really did nothing but rest and take a Valium and sleep, and I feel a lot better. Just still a little, but that could be like a hangover from the Valium. But we can sometimes from that feel like a failure because it's not something, you know, putting a kid on a bus is something really simple. Go downstairs, we'll go outside, put the kid on the bus, done, come back in, everything's fine. But it was really a nightmare today. And yeah, I did feel like, okay, I failed. But you know what? It's such a small thing that, yeah, I failed for the day. I did succeed at getting him on the bus, but I failed for the day. And failure, if you let your mind go to it, it's really gonna run. You're really gonna let the Meniere's disease or vestibular migraine or whatever chronic illness you have run your life. And there's an acronym for failure, for fail. First attempt in learning. First attempt in learning. Okay. Instead of looking at failure and I'll never do this again and I can't do this and I'll just quit and blah 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 blah. No. Learn from your failure and then you'll be successful because you'll know what not to do. Now, in my case, I will never get the flu vaccine and the COVID vaccine at the same time. I will get one first and then get the other one a week later. I will never do that again because it's been a nightmare. It's actually been a nightmare since Tuesday. So I will never, ever, ever do that again. So, yeah, did I fail? Yeah. But I learned. I'll never do that again. Okay? Now, I'm not talking about vaccines. And I don't pressure people to get vaccines. If you want to get a vaccine, get a vaccine. If you don't. I can't. I'm not the type of person to press people into doing things that they don't want to do. Because it backfires. So I'm not that type of person, and that's not what this video is about. It's about failing. You fail, and you manage to keep going. Don't give up. Learn from it. There's so many times that you're going to fail with Meniere's disease, with chronic illness, that you have to learn from it. And so you don't fail again. Okay? And in life in general. You know how many times I've failed at things? A ton of times. But every time I did, I learned from those failures and became better. Okay? I think may have told the story of me in high school playing lacrosse. First year lacrosse. Didn't even know what a stick and a ball was. I just heard the name lacrosse and thought, I think I'll try that. Keep myself somewhat in shape for football. And so I got a stick and a ball. And the first two practices, I failed. I was surprised I made the team. I was awful the first couple of practices. I didn't know how to throw the ball. I didn't know how to scoop it. I didn't know how to do this. I didn't know how to do any of it. But somehow, after the second day, I said, okay, I've got to improve somehow. Let me talk to one of these coaches. Maybe they could work with me a little bit after practice. So that's what I did. And one of them, actually none of them would, but there were a few seniors that said, hey, you know what? You really want to play? We'll work out with you afterwards. We'll show you some things. And they did. And we would be down after practice like another hour. And Bob Cavey, great guy, never forget him, constantly playing catch with me, constantly everything. If we were at a break in practice, him and I were just playing catch and discussing the game and how to check and all this stuff. And that, and then after a couple of those sessions, which we continued to do them, I would go home, eat dinner, and practice for another 2 hours on my own. I painted on my old elementary school, which was back then we had neighborhood elementary schools, a square, size of a lacrosse net. And I would sit there with a tennis ball, not a lacrosse ball, because I did that once and sent the ball through someone's window. Luckily, the people were nice. With a tennis ball, and I would just practice shooting, practice catching, practice shooting on that thing, in that net, and everything. And by the second week, I was playing defense on junior varsity. And I kept doing this every day. Okay? And I had my failures, believe me, I did. There was guys got by me, things like that. And there were times I wanted to quit because I felt like such a failure. But I didn't. I kept going. And I kept practicing. And then a couple of weeks later, they moved me to a position called midfield, where you're running up and down the field, passing the ball, shooting the ball. I started scoring goals for JV. Then if my line wasn't... I played the whole game. Because if my line wasn't in the game for midfield, I went on defense. Then if my line came in, I went on midfield. So it was a whole bunch of excuses, a whole bunch of failures that I had made, that I worked on and became better, to the point by the end of the year, by the end of the last 2 weeks of the season, my first year playing lacrosse, I was actually playing varsity. And even the varsity coaches were like, you came in here doing nothing. Now you look like you've been playing for years. And I told them exactly what I did. I got some of the seniors to help me. I practiced on my own after school. I did all this stuff. And there I was, playing just midfield on varsity. And then the next year, and I worked at it. I worked at it all summer. I played Summer League, Bryan Lacrosse League, all these leagues. And then the next year I came back. Now I could play every position. And the only one I really played extremely well was defense, but I could play every position fairly with some confidence, and even goalie. And it was all from a bunch of either necessity or failures. And even when first game I played goalie, because they had to put me in because the goalie got hurt. So the first game I ever played, the first 12 shots, I let in. At halftime, I felt like a failure. I had my teammates that were yelling at me and this and that. And I learned from all those mistakes that I made that first half of the game. And the second half of the game, I shut the team down that we were playing. They didn't score another goal. And we ended up winning like 13-12. So, just in that short, brief 15-minute halftime, I was able to learn from my failures and talk to some guys and say, hey, okay, tell me what I'm doing wrong. And let me work at it, and did all this stuff, going to warm-ups, and nobody was getting any shot in. And then the rest of the game, it was a shutout. So, yeah, first game, I let in 12 goals, but in the second half of that game, I played a perfect game. Because I learned from my failures of the first half. So, remember, it's the first, fail is the first attempt in learning. Don't give up. You have a bad day. Something you would normally be able to do, you couldn't do. Okay, yeah, you failed. But learn from it. That's it. Learn from your mistakes. And you'll be okay. All right? And I'm not knocking anybody or anything like this. This is a normal thing. It's a normal thing. And just from having this channel and running the support groups that I run, there's been a lot of failure. I've done a lot of failures, but I never gave up, and I kept going. If I followed the rule of it's a failure, it's never going to work, this channel wouldn't be here for you people. Okay? It just wouldn't. All right? I'm not doing this to get rich or popular or anything else like that. It's to help other people that are like me and get through this life and get through this disease of Meniere's. From either learning from my experiences or learning from research that I've done. Okay? And I know sometimes some videos I tend to, repeat videos or I repost videos. And the reason why I repost, and I've said it before, is because it's always, and the sad part is, there's always new people joining us, okay? And they haven't seen my videos. They don't know about my channel. So that's why I do that, okay? I'm not doing it to try to get more people to, join my club, make money and all this stuff. No, no, no. It's to actually, for those new people, to help them. So they don't feel alone, like we all did when we first joined. You know how many times I get comments from people, messages from people saying, I wish this channel was around when I first got diagnosed 10, 20 years ago? A lot of them. And it's a great feeling. It really is. And that's another thing. If you want to overcome your failure, if you can't do something, right, and no matter how many times you try, you can't do something else. There's nothing wrong with making awareness of Meniere's disease by posting on your own wall, joining Vita, doing things like that. There's so many different things you can do that you thought you'd probably never do. And one of the other things I've always said, I'm going to end it real quick, is without people think I'm nuts, but I do consider Meniere's disease a blessing sometimes in disguise, and COVID a little bit. And I'll tell you why. Because if it wasn't for Meniere's disease, I wouldn't be able to watch my 13-year-old grow up. To be a 20-year-old adult who's responsible and everything else like that. Because I didn't get to do that with my two kids, my two oldest. I mean, yeah, I went to their stuff. I went to their practices and games and concerts and this and that. Yeah, that's one thing. But I never got to spend time with them. And this way, I spent time with this kid. And I got to know this kid. And we, for a while, we had our, 10:30 at night bowl session where we would talk for hours. He'd be late for school the next day, but we'd talk for hours. I didn't have that with the other two. So it was kind of a blessing. And in a way, COVID was a blessing because this channel would not be here. I had no inkling of doing a YouTube channel before COVID. And that all stemmed from being asked to record Mass at church. And then I had to learn to edit and do all that stuff. And then to learn how to edit better, I started a channel making stuffed animals talk and stuff like that to today where I'm 1,100 strong, and I thank you for all that. And I know I'm helping people worldwide, and I'm getting a message out there that Meniere's is here. It is real. It is awful. And we need help. So on that note, hey guys, have a great Thursday, and I'll talk to you all soon. Take care.